Max Verstappen turned the 2024 Abu Dhabi finale into a spectacle far beyond expectations. However, the FIA's decision to impose a 10-second penalty and 2 penalty points on his super license revealed tensions between the reigning champion and the stewards. The question now is, will this contentious relationship carry over into the 2025 season? Moreover, will other drivers, emboldened by recent incidents, push Verstappen into situations like the one with Oscar Piastri, where the Red Bull driver made a costly mistake? If you're interested, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. Let's get on with it. The friction between Verstappen and the FIA has been building throughout the season, notably since the heated exchange during the Baku Grand Prix. The Abu Dhabi finale seemed to bring this simmering feud to a boil, particularly after Verstappen's outspoken reaction to the penalty. The drama began on the very first lap. Verstappen made an aggressive move to pass Carlos Sainz and at least one McLaren, eventually targeting Oscar Piastri. Although Verstappen had the inside line, he wasn't ahead of Piastri, and the resulting collision was deemed entirely his fault. Piastri's pointed remark afterward, calling the attempt fitting of a world champion, added fuel to the fire. The incident derailed both drivers' races. Verstappen was relegated to the midfield, unable to recover and challenge the front runners, while Piastri found himself at the back, battling to salvage a single point. Ironically, Piastri's sharp comment came back to haunt him when he later received a 10-second penalty for an unrelated but even more puzzling incident, rounding out a night of penalties and controversy. As Piastri misjudged his braking, he rear-ended Capito's car heading into the turn 6 to 7 combination, compounding an already dramatic race. While his frustration over the Verstappen incident was understandable, the Aussie might have been better off letting his driving do the talking rather than venting over the radio. With the stakes so high, however, tempers inevitably flared. Piastri's actions had significant implications, particularly for the Constructors' Championship. Charles Leclerc's astonishing drive from 19th to a podium finish in 3rd gave Ferrari a fighting chance. But it wasn't enough. Lando Norris's flawless performance ensured McLaren locked in 2nd place, leaving Ferrari to settle for P2 in the standings. In hindsight, Piastri might have had more room to maneuver on the inside line during his earlier clash with Verstappen. But if there's one thing seasoned fans know about Verstappen, it's that he will exploit any opening, no matter how narrow. It's a hallmark of his aggressive style, seen most famously in Jeddah, 2021. While such maneuvers can be brilliant when executed cleanly, they become controversial when they lead to contact. In Abu Dhabi, Verstappen miscalculated. He wasn't far enough ahead at the apex to claim the corner, and assuming Piastri would simply yield under pressure was optimistic at best. The collision was inevitable, highlighting how even a 3-time world champion can occasionally overreach. A penalty for Max Verstappen seemed inevitable after the collision with Piastri, and the FIA made it official with a 10-second penalty and 2 penalty points, bringing his total to 8 super license points. In its official statement, F1 explained, Car 1 attempted to overtake Car 81 on the inside into Turn 1, but never got far enough alongside. Both cars collided shortly after the apex. The stewards determined that the driver of Car 1 was wholly at fault and caused the collision. Given the new race director and stewarding team, a 10-second penalty was entirely expected. Verstappen, however, seemed taken aback by the decision and reacted sarcastically as he served his penalty, further fueling speculation that his feud with the FIA is far from over. This ongoing tension is likely to persist into the 2025 season. Without the aid of a safety car, Verstappen was forced to serve his penalty under race conditions that severely hampered his chances of a podium finish, let alone a race victory, and of matching Lewis Hamilton as the most successful driver in Abu Dhabi. As he exited the pit lane, Verstappen sarcastically remarked, "Could we ask for 20 seconds, stupid idiots?" This comment not only underscored his frustration but also reignited debates about his often confrontational behavior. Further adding fuel to the fire, Verstappen didn't hold back regarding the 2 penalty points added to his super license. True to form, he quipped, "Maybe I'll make sure to get to 12 super license points when the baby's born, then I can go on paternity leave." Unsurprisingly, Verstappen's comment sparked widespread commentary, particularly in the British media, where critics were quick to scrutinize his relationship with the FIA and accuse him of showing disrespect toward the stewards. Prominent figures like Martin Brundle and David Croft voiced their disapproval, arguing that such behavior is unbecoming of a world champion. They emphasized that Verstappen's remarks toward the stewards, who were simply enforcing the rules, were inappropriate and undermined the authority of the officials. The newly appointed race director, Rui Marquez, has been enforcing stricter rules, but some controversial decisions over the Abu Dhabi weekend raised questions. For instance, George Russell's impeding of Liam Lawson, as well as the illegal warm-up lap incident involving Norris and Russell during qualifying, drew comparisons to previous missteps, such as those at Spa earlier in the season. Meanwhile, the incident involving Lance Stroll crashing into the barrier during the original lap highlighted deeper issues, including perceived biases in commentary. While British commentators can sometimes show partiality, their criticism of Verstappen in this instance seemed justified. It was clear that Verstappen was not in a position to make a legitimate overtaking move, and this time, Piastri had every right to defend his position, despite being on the outside line. Verstappen's past comments further contextualize his approach. He has previously stated that whenever he has the inside line, he will always attack and never yield. His comments often center more around defending his line than attacking, reflecting a mindset where no driver should pass him on the outside. However, this mentality also reveals his struggle to accept situations where a driver on his right side holds firm and challenges his aggressive tactics. Verstappen's perspective on racing aligns with comments he made in a previous interview. Personally, I don't give someone room on the outside of the corner. When I race someone, they won't overtake me around the outside. That's how I grew up racing. Some drivers are more passive in their approach, but that's just how they are. I know that in F1, I can't hang it around the outside because they'll push me off. It's a racing instinct. While this aggressive mindset has served him well, it also has the potential to escalate tensions. As we look ahead to 2025, the situation could become even more fraught, particularly with the possibility of a new teammate for Verstappen. Sergio Perez has acknowledged that his seat is under threat, with ongoing discussions about his future. While neither Liam Lawson nor Yuki Tsunoda are expected to immediately challenge for championships, their arrival could introduce a fresh dynamic within the team. The second driver at Red Bull is likely to be faster than Perez, and with the increased pressure from Ferrari and McLaren, Verstappen's new teammate might capitalize on situations where mistakes become more frequent. This shift in the team's internal balance could lead to more tension, particularly in high-stakes moments. Moreover, the ongoing conflict between Verstappen and the FIA remains unresolved. The swearing incident, which has largely gone without further penalty, continues to linger in the background. While we've heard Charles Leclerc swear on the radio in recent races without consequence, Verstappen's case remains more contentious. George Russell previously referred to Verstappen as a bully who had never faced the level of resistance provided by Lewis Hamilton in 2021. And it's clear that these incidents could fuel Verstappen's drive, not only for the 2025 season, but also for 2026 and beyond. The friction between Verstappen and the FIA, along with internal team dynamics, will likely shape the next few seasons in ways we have yet to fully anticipate. Verstappen's actions in Abu Dhabi and his remarks about the FIA stewards undoubtedly raised eyebrows and could have long-term implications. His comment, calling the FIA officials stupid idiots while serving his penalty, reflects the ongoing tension between the Dutchman and the governing body, highlighting a more rebellious side of his character. While Verstappen's frustration is understandable, especially given the high stakes of the race, his behavior could invite more scrutiny. Toto Wolff's recent comments on FIA penalties related to swearing are particularly relevant here. His argument that swearing should be penalized more harshly touches on a key issue: the influence drivers have on younger fans. Wolff's concern about his 7-year-old hearing such language, potentially from watching drivers like Verstappen, suggests a wider expectation for role models in F1 to maintain a certain standard of behavior. The increasing focus on the behavior of drivers, both on and off the track, will likely push the FIA to take more firm action when it comes to unsporting conduct, including swearing. As for Verstappen's comments about the stewards, his words could certainly land him in deeper trouble. While his outburst was likely born out of frustration, the FIA may not tolerate this kind of language from a driver of his stature. In previous seasons, Verstappen has been warned about his behavior, and continuing this trend could lead to additional sanctions or even more serious penalties if the FIA feels that his conduct undermines the sport's integrity. Given that the FIA has shown a willingness to issue penalties to high-profile drivers, like Vettel, Hamilton, and now Verstappen, it is entirely possible that Verstappen's continued defiance could put him at odds with the governing body. Looking ahead, Verstappen's remarks may also influence his relationship with other drivers. His ongoing feud with George Russell, for example, could add fuel to the fire, especially if Russell takes an aggressive approach on track in 2025. The rivalry between these two drivers is likely to intensify, and Verstappen's reputation as a hard-nosed competitor could lead to more clashes with both drivers and officials. Ultimately, Verstappen's actions in Abu Dhabi and his remarks about the FIA stewards indicate that his relationship with the sport's governing body is far from smooth. His outbursts and defiant attitude could have consequences for his future in Formula One, particularly as the FIA continues to focus on regulating driver behavior more closely. Whether or not these tensions escalate depends on how Verstappen and the FIA manage their interactions in the coming seasons. It seems like the Verstappen versus FIA saga, coupled with his growing rivalry with George Russell, is only just getting started. There's plenty of tension building up, both on and off the track. What are your thoughts on Verstappen's actions and comments in Abu Dhabi? Do you think his remarks about the stewards could land him in even deeper trouble? Or is this just another example of a driver speaking his mind? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next videos.